Dr. Michael Greger coming to you live from my treadmill, as I do every month, to answer any questions you may have. Sorry, I was a few minutes late. I just gave a webinar. This is so cool. A book club for How Not to Age. It's 4 weeks. So there's still 3 more to go. So if you missed it, I had a lot of fun. I think it was great. Packed a lot of great information. But you can still sign up for the other 3 webinars. Ooh, I wonder if I have that somewhere. I wish I had a URL for you. Yeah, I don't have the webinar. Anyway, go to nutritionfacts.org, go to the top, click down on webinars, and sign up for the book club. Anyway, for those of you who are unfamiliar with my work, every year I read through every issue of every English language nutrition journal in the world, so busy folks like you don't have to. I then compile the most interesting, most groundbreaking, most practical findings to new videos and articles I upload every day to my nonprofit site, nutritionfacts.org. Everything on the website is free. There are no ads, no corporate sponsorship, no strictly non-commercial, not selling anything, just put up as a public service, as a labor of love, as a tribute to my grandma. And as you can see, I have my lucky broccoli tie on today. Let's go to your questions. Oh, you can tell I'm 2 minutes late because there's lots of questions queued up. Okay. First question. It does not show up on the, there it is. Sorry, can't see it. First question, do all forms of choline cause prostate cancer? It's more like contributing to prostate cancer. All concentrated forms of choline, but that's mostly just eggs. All right. Next up, is it true that women with breast cancer should only eat whole grains and only eat low glycemic foods to avoid inflammation? It's good for everyone to stick to whole grains and eat low glycemic load foods, right? My 11-month-old seborrheic dermatitis on the scalp, using these things. Any probiotic food suggestions? I don't know anything that I have not run across any foods that help with seborrheic dermatitis. Last time I checked, but I will do another run next time I do a series of videos. Next up, should you eat something while eating your that's funny. This questioner, this person asked this exact same question in the webinar today. I encourage people to eat their spices with a meal. Okay, what specific brand of omega-3s? They're all made by the same company. The algae-based omega-3 just sold under different brand names, so buy whatever's cheapest. Should I be worried about gust gum? I think you mean guar gum and sodium bicarbonate in plant-based milks. No. I think guar gum's okay. I know locust bean gum is. It's the carrageenan that we're concerned about. Okay, do I still recommend a daily dose of a teaspoon of Ceylon cinnamon? Sure, why not? That sounds great. Antioxidant rich, does all sorts of wonderful things. Yeah, I'm down. You can mix it with your cocoa powder. I recommend a tablespoon of natural cocoa powder every day in How Not to Age, and you could add some cinnamon as well as cardamom to it. What is the solution for high hemoglobin? Okay, high hemoglobin. What does the blood donation help if marrow is very active? What is the cause? Okay, so this is what is the solution for high hemoglobin? So this is something like polycythemia, where you can have too many red blood cells in your body, and so you can do blood donations, which is basically like one of the few conditions that actually bloodletting would actually help with. And it's so you may actually have polycythemia. That's the cause. Your body's making too many red blood cells. Is there anything you can do besides blood donations? You need to talk to your hemonc doctor. I don't know anything you can do on a dietary basis. Is chia mixed with water a well-absorbed source of omega-3s? No, you gotta grind it up. But ground chia mixed with water certainly would be. Is Pippali pepper as potent as normal pepper to increase turmeric? No, it's completely different plant, and I do not know that it diminishes the ability of your detoxifying enzymes, which is what black pepper does. It suppresses your detox enzymes, so your body doesn't get rid of as much curcumin. And how much Pippali is necessary for senolytic effects, we don't know. As I talk about in the book, we don't know if we can even achieve the senolytic levels in our bloodstream because it's never been put to the test. Oh, this poor person, Brian, tore their right Achilles, surgically repaired. What should I be eating to aid healing? Well, increasing your protein intake can help with wound healing. Vitamin C, zinc, just basically eating a really healthy diet. But the one thing, particularly if you're recovering from like major surgery, increasing your protein intake can help with healing. Okay, are naturally occurring trans fats in animal products like meat and dairy as harmful as hydrogenated oils? Yes, it is. I have a video about that. How bad is it to eat small quantities of low trans fat cheeses, such as Parmesan and mozzarella? The big problem about Parmesan is the oxidized cholesterol. I have a video about that. I don't know how much trans fat is in mozzarella, but we do know it has lots of saturated fat. Saturated butterfat, which is not good for the same reason that we avoid trans fats, increasing our cardiovascular risk. What if I implemented all the spice and herb recommendations? Well, I would end up with 30 grams of spices a day. Is that still healthy? I don't think that's true. Really? 30 grams? No. It's like a quarter teaspoon of turmeric. How many grams is that? Like 1 gram? Quarter teaspoon of black cumin, 1 or 2 grams. Quarter teaspoon of like ginger powder, that's a gram or 2. Quarter teaspoon of what's the other one? Amla, that's a gram or 2. So maybe 5 grams. Yeah. 3 grams. Yeah. I don't know where you're getting that from. Unless you consider like cocoa powder or spice, in which case, yeah, a tablespoon would add up a little bit. Does salt restriction raise triglycerides and or cholesterol? No, salt restriction should lower your blood pressure, but I don't think it affects the amount of fat in your blood. Start eating dogs. Start eating dogs. They're necessary for health. Humans have always eaten dogs, and some people who eat dogs haven't diet yet. Therefore, it's essential and healthy. I have no idea what Eaton Hewart is talking about. Himmy, though, says, spelling my name wrong, loves my book, though, so completely, it's okay. You can spell my name all you want. I got the book, audio version. Oh, that was brutal. 30 hours of recording. Do I recommend making plant milk at home? No, I just buy it. It's so much cheaper. I mean, it's probably not cheaper in the long run, but it's more convenient. What do I think of making plant milk makers? Great. But I just don't got the bandwidth for it. So I just get unsweetened soy milk. My favorite brand is the Whole Foods generic brand, 365 or whatever, just because I like the taste. What's the maximum daily dosage of ashwaganda? I talk about this, staying away from ashwaganda, right? Which is comes from the words for wet horse, because it supposedly smells like a wet horse. But anyway, yeah, because of the liver damage, I encourage people to stay away from it in my latest book. You can look in the index and look at the ashwagandha section. Do I recommend 4 Brazil nuts once a month? Yeah, why not? Give it a try. See if it lowers your LDL cholesterol. I like that. Too good to be true study did. What methods are best for cooking tofu? I would use moist methods as opposed to like blackened Cajun tofu or something, because the high dry heat methods can actually cause the formation of AGEs, which we typically only seen with broiled or baked or barbecued meat. Is chicory good for AMPK? No, not that I know of. But you can boost AMPK with spermidine. So eat some tempeh, some green peas, some mushrooms, some wheat germ, and you can boost autophagy that way. Or exercise for 60 minutes a day, moderate intensity brisk walking. That's another good way to do it. How not to age is great, says Fernanda. That's very nice. I'm so glad. Colon cancer screening. Oh, yeah. What method do I recommend or plan to undergo? I did the Cologuard. It's a DNA, like cancer DNA testing thing. It's a stool testing kit. So you get it in the mail, you send back a sample, and they tell you if they think you have colon cancer or not. And you do that every 3 years. So I just did it for the second time, right? Because, yeah, you're supposed to get it done at starting at age 45. And I'm negative twice, thank God. Okay, what's next? What brands of bread do I recommend? Well, the worst thing about bread, lots of bad things about bread, but probably it's high sodium content. It's probably the number one source of sodium for people over age 50, I believe. Chicken is the number one source between 20 and 50, and pizza is under 20, if I remember correctly. So it's hard to find bread without added salt, but Ezekiel bread, there's an Ezekiel bread without added salt made out of sprouted grains. That would probably be healthiest. Michelle Lewis, which is me. Whole food plant-based aggravates GERD and IBS. Why? How can I counter the effects? A whole food plant-based diet should not aggravate GERD. I have a whole video on GERD. There's lots of things you can do for decreasing acid reflux. I encourage you to check it out. And IBS. So I would presume that a high fiber diet would actually help with IBS, but in that transition period, you can get IBS-like symptoms like bloating and excessive gas. Because you don't have the microbial machinery to deal with the amount of fiber which your body was really meant to deal with. And so I encourage people to if you experience those symptoms when you start eating healthier, to gradually increase the amount of legumes in your diet until you can build up the population of those good gut bugs to deal with it. Okay, if Linda is weight training, do they increase your protein or you keep it at suggested 45 grams a day? Now, that 45 grams a day is assuming that your average height in eating about 2,000 calories a day, but if that's the case, the answer is yes. And a recommendation for gut dysbiosis and leaky gut? Absolutely. Type in leaky gut and dysbiosis into nutrition facts, and I've got videos on both. What is the best kind of exercise and for how long? Oh, my God. So I talk about all the recommendations. So we want to do both aerobic and weight training at least twice a month. At least twice a week. We also want to do flexibility and balance training. This is when we get older. Is length of time moving more important than intensity? Well, it's a combination. So 90 minutes of a moderate intensity exercise every day or 45 minutes of vigorous would be my recommendation. Please comment on protein NEDs. Protein NEDs? I don't know. Oh, needs. Older exercising male, exercising doesn't matter. But if you're older, over age 65, I think it's switching from 0.8 grams to 1 gram per healthy kilogram body weight would be a good way to go, sticking to plant protein sources whenever possible. You are welcome. Great webinar. Oh, awesome. Honey Bunches of Angels was just on my webinar. Remember, there's 3 left. Check it out. I'm going to find that URL. God damn it, because I enjoyed it so much. I'm going to pull up my browser, and I'm going to find the URL for the webinar, and so I can share it with everybody. I should have had it done beforehand, but okay, webinars. How Not to Age Book Club. Okay. And now it says the registration temporarily closed until tomorrow. That's because we couldn't fit people in to today's, since it was today. But tomorrow you can register for the next ones. And so I'm going to add that here. To How Not to Age Book Club webinar. Okay, there we go. Let's see if that works. Okay, there it is. How Not to Age Book Club webinar. It is at nutritionfacts.org/webinar/How Not to Age Book Club, all with hyphens between them. I should probably have a shortened URL for that, but it's good enough. But yeah, I got I think it's the next 3 Fridays. I think they're all at like 2:00 p.m. The Eastern time. Don't quote me, but Anyway, so I'm going to do parts 2, 3, and 4 of the next 3 weeks. So the next one I'm going to do the blue zones, optimal anti-aging regimen, etc. Okay, let's go back to your question. Sorry about that. I'm excited about telling people about the new book club. Okay, there we go. Questions. Okay, reading about how most researchers use data for men versus women. That in fact, women in menopausal transition need more protein to maintain muscle mass and reduce body fat gain. What did you find? I found that either for older men or women, adding extra protein to their diets does not improve muscle mass, muscle quality, muscle strength, or muscle performance. Laura's husband is 5'8", 260 pounds. His doctor doesn't like that he's limiting meat. Sounds like you need another doctor. And told us we need 100 grams of protein to lose weight. You definitely need another doctor. Fatty foods and alcohol are leading. Are they now? You can check out my whole video on GERD. It sounds like they're just responding to somebody else. Kendra says, what research is there on the supposed dangers of chemical-based sunscreens as opposed to mineral-based, such as zinc? So this was the FDA, the Food and Drug Administration, did not realize that so much of the chemicals in chemical sunscreens was actually absorbed into the system. And so the testing, so before they didn't require safety testing of these chemicals because it all just stayed on the skin. But oops, guess what? It's absorbed in the system. And so we have no idea if they're safe or not. So they removed the generally recognized as safe status from all chemical sunscreens in the United States. The only ones that are generally recognized as safe are titanium dioxide, zinc oxide, the two mineral sunscreens. So it's not that we have evidence that they're dangerous. We just don't have evidence either way. And so might as well stick with something that's not absorbed into your system until we know more, until the research is done. What are my thoughts on sweet potato powder? I didn't even know you could buy sweet potato powder. Sounds delicious. Sign me up. Okay, if I implement all the recommendations from all the books, is there a tipping point where it's just too much for the body? I mean, what if you stop smoking and you start exercising? I mean, oh my God, all this healthy stuff? Too much healthy stuff equals lots of healthy stuff. Need help selecting the cleanest D3. What do you mean cleanest D3? I just buy whatever's cheapest. Can I comment on, resting heart rate? I've got some great videos on resting heart rate. What's a good resting heart rate? Less than a beat per second. Under 60 beats, or I think it's like under 65 beats, but it comes out to be about a beat per second. So we want to have a resting heart rate of less than a beat per second. Any foods? Yes. Oh my God, how cool is this? Legumes, eating beans can slow your resting heart rate as much as jogging a certain amount of hours. I forget what it comes out to. But yes, eat beans, slow your resting metabolic rate, as well as exercising. I'm on the treadmill. Look, I can press the button and I can start walking, but then everyone complained that I make them seasick. Sorry about that. But I'm on my treadmill. I'm just have to get too many complaints. Is vegan protein powder a good healthy source of protein? No, we should get our macronutrients, our protein, our fat, our carbohydrates from whole food sources. So instead of table sugar, we should have fruit for carbohydrates. Instead of oil, we should have like walnuts for fats, and instead of protein powders, we should actually have like kidney beans or some whole food sources of nutrition, not isolated nutrients. Jason said, how much flaxseed should we take daily? A tablespoon of ground flaxseed is what I recommend in my Dr. Greger's Daily Dozen, available free as an iPhone app or an Android app. Check it out. Sour cream, kimchi, 2 iron sodium. That is true. Is there any evidence with a whole food plant-based that can help stop their colitis medication? Very cool. Yes. Well, it depends what kind of colitis you have. But colitis just means colon inflammation. If it's due to Crohn's disease or if it's due to ulcerative colitis, then indeed there is benefit. And so just check out those videos on nutritionfacts.org and send them to your doctor. Is L-lysine good to take? I forget if it helps. I actually looked it up once. I forgot what it said. Sorry about that. When I don't do a video on something, it just kind of gets lost out of my brain. Is it okay to eat maple syrup? It is. Is it okay? Depends what you're eating instead. If it's between maple syrup and I don't know, eating a can of frosting, eat your maple syrup. But no, it's basically just sugar. Sugar is bad. There are very few things in the world that are worse than sugar. So I would stay away or save it for special occasions. Is drinking bubbly water from a can a concern? No. In fact, a carbonated water can have benefits like decreasing dyspepsia or kind of an upset tummy. I've got videos on that. Any studies on how effective red clover is in reducing hot flashes? Yes, there are studies. And guess what? Doesn't really work. Same thing with black cohosh. I talk about both in my Preserving Your Hormone chapter in How Not to Age. Get it now at your local public library. Or you can buy a copy, and all proceeds from I receive from all the sales of books goes directly to charity. Can I walk too much each day? Well, yeah, I mean, your feet can hurt. That's about it. I don't know. I guess, yeah, you could probably walk too much. I'm sure there's people on like forced marches that, but look, I end up walking, 7-8 hours a day, and it's all just gravy. You gotta have good shoes though, otherwise your feet can hurt. Any recommendations for curing gut dysbiosis? Yes. I talked about that. Check out the videos on nutritionfacts.org. What am I? They're coming back up again. This is how people get their question answered. They ask it 100 times, which is smart, but we already did that question. Do we absolutely need supplements on a plant-based diet or fortification? Yes. Yes. Are there other options? Because we need vitamin B12. Are there other options even theoretically? Yes. You could eat your sterilized stool, which is what they did with grad students, and showed that, yes, indeed, we produce our bacteria in our colon, produce lots of B12. It's just too far down to be absorbed. But then if you took that stool, sterilize it to make it safe, and then drank it, you get lots of B12. I don't recommend it. I just talked to my oncologist about you today. That's nice. That's my next book. I just wrote the book proposal on my way to Denmark a few days ago for How Not to Die from Cancer, which will be out December 2027, hopefully. Hassam knows that drinking alcohol is unhealthy. Excellent. However, they drink anyway. Okay? What kind of alcohol is healthier, and which one should you definitely avoid? Alcohol is alcohol. The only safe intake is really 0. Red wine would probably be better than something like hard liquor, just because it actually has some grape compounds in it. But there's a better way to get grape compounds, like eating grapes. What do I think of it? Citocholine supplements? I've never heard of citocholine. Do bean skins have nutritional value? Yes. In fact, the skin probably has more nutritional value, like the seed coat. That's why smaller lentils are healthier than larger lentils, because there's more surface area. Also, on B12 supplementation, is time release or not time release? Doesn't matter. Well, no, actually, you don't want time release, because time release, you can't chew it, right? You want to mix it with your saliva. So you want some kind of chewable or liquid or something like that, a spray, something like that. So not time release. I've started using daily sunscreen. Great. But the internet has me worried about chemical sunscreens. You should be. I've got a series of videos on that in a webinar. Yes, there is research. Stick to mineral sunscreens. Hydroponic lettuce grown in the home. How cool is that? Better than in the store? Well, it's better because it's right there and you can eat it, right? You don't have to go shopping. That's awesome. Very cool. Oh, wow, that's really misspelled. Peter. Gregory, is L-lysine a good supplement for vegan bodybuilders who do not eat legumes? No, I wouldn't take lysine supplements. You can get all the lysine you want from food. Help. How not to farm. I don't understand. How would you wash broccoli sprouting seeds? What's nice about broccoli sprouting seeds is, unlike alfalfa spreads, they don't have these little nooks and crannies. They're smooth. So I just soak them in water and then just rinse them. Just make sure you keep rinsing them at least twice a day. What helps with dry eyes? Hydration. Actually, it sounds funny. Drinking more water helps cut down on symptoms of dry eye syndrome. It kind of makes sense, but it actually works. Okay, what are my thoughts? Oh, we already did sweet potato powder. Any recommendations on current? We already did that one. What are the 5 spices I recommend taking daily? Let's see if we can remember them all. Turmeric's part of my daily dozen. Then I talk about black cumin and how not to diet. I talk about amla in how not to die. I talk about Pippali in how not to age. And then ground ginger I talk about in like all my books. Those would probably be the 5. We already talked about bean skins. 2 ingredients soy milk, water and soybeans. Oh, yeah, no, that's true. That's true. But yeah, West soy tastes gross though, as far as I'm concerned. But hey, more power to you. Does consuming creatine have any negative effects if total protein intake does not? Oh, I actually recommend creatine if you can find contaminant-free creatine. Actually, one of the recommendations in my book to increase muscle mass gains in resistance exercise in older men and women. I actually recommend it in the book. What's my take on folic acid on nutritional yeast? I recommend getting folate from beans and greens, but I'm not worried about folic acid added to fortified nutritional yeast. And I like fortified nutritional yeast because it's a good source of vitamin B12 for people who are not supplementing. Why aren't mushrooms or sunlight or iodized salt or seaweed on the daily dozen? Well, certainly iodized salt wouldn't be because it's salt. God. That'd be on like the dirty dozen. Sea vegetables, fantastic, but not necessary, but fantastic. Sunlight, fantastic, not necessary. You can take vitamin D supplements. And mushrooms, yeah. If I was doing a baker's dozen, the 13th, probably mushrooms because of the ergothioneine and the spermidine. Good stuff. Love the webinar. Oh, great. I think we had, well, when we started out, we had 2,000. Presumably it went up from there. 2,000 people joined the webinar. It's very cool. I hope people will stick with it and enjoyed it as much as I did. Multiple experts. Oh, we're out. We are out of time. So I'm going to go back to this just to show it one last time. Okay. Check out book club. You already missed one if you didn't already see it. 1 of 4. But you can join in at any time. You don't have to actually read that part of the book before it, but I think you'll get a lot more out of it if you do. Bring your questions, and I think you will enjoy it at www.nutritionfacts.org/webinar/how-not-to-age-book-club, all with hyphens between them. Thank you, everybody, and I hope to see you soon on the road in your hometown. All right, how do I cut out of this puppy?